Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Voices of the Vic podcast with me, Mike Duffy. And tonight is the last one of the season or series, whatever you want to call it. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by everyone. Now, no, I've not forgot that Ben does his podcast. He's going to be joining very, very shortly. But at the moment, I've got Caity, Cam and Joe. And as I say, it's the last one of the season. And we're going to be doing a look back on 24-25. Now, on the surface, that doesn't sound that particularly interesting because it was a bit of a naff season. But we're going to do what we usually do here at Voice of the Vic. Katie's gone back to our pre-season prediction podcast and listened to all our predictions. So we're going to revisit them, see who was close and who was completely wide of the mark. For example, last season, when Ben said flop of the season would be Wes Hoot, and he ended up winning player of the season. So I'm sure there might be similar ones to that, and we'll all have a good laugh at it. And then we'll go through who we sort of would vote for with young player of the season, player of the season, goal of the season, and then team performance of the season. But before we do all that, as I say, I am joined by the other three. Benny's going to be joining very, very shortly. First things first, let's get to you, Caity, first. How's things with yourself? You all good?
Yeah, no, I'm all good. Last few weeks of uni, so pushing through. But excited to do this. Always a good laugh to talk about what we said in the beginning and then see where we got to. So it was fun to go back and look through, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait. These are the ones I look forward to. I mean, we were sat on this podcast the other week, I won't even say last week, and Ben was saying, when we spoke about the sacking of Cleverley, Ben was saying how sort of the love's lost a little bit and he struggles to motivate himself to do the podcast. And listen, that echoes so true and rings so true with myself, but these ones I really do look for because it's a good laugh. And Cam, how's things with you? Obviously, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but saw yourself and Joe on Saturday. But how's things with yourself been? All good?
Yeah, all good. And isn't it just great that we've got a lovely 3-month break ahead of us from watching Watford lose? And I am going to cherish every Saturday of that break. And yeah, I'm just buzzing not to be watching until we get a nice pre-season fixture announced, and then I'll be the first one buying tickets. So just shows how fickle I am, really. But yeah, I am doing just fine at the moment. I don't think I've been on here since Luton got relegated, but I have been definitely cherishing that one. So yeah, all good myself.
Good. Yeah, it's I'm gonna be a bit like a lost puppy on Saturdays now, to be honest. I mean, I do a lot of my park runs, and I'm trying to do 50 different ones at the moment. So I suppose my Saturdays will be taken up largely by that, which I'm sure Beck will be delighted about, me getting up at stupid o'clock in the morning to drive 2 hours away to tick off a new one. But yeah, I'm going to be a bit sort of lost, not know what to do with myself. And like you, as soon as pre-season's announced, I'll be looking online for the dodgiest stream you can imagine, trying to get someone that's filming it from a Nokia 3310 in the stand, and I'll be happy with that, and they'll rope me back in. So, yeah, and like I say, Joe, saw you on Saturday. How's things for yourself? You delved into a bit of playoff action the other night, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, I was at Adams Park for the Wycombe Charlton game. It was It was a splendid 0-0 draw. But you know what? Actually, it was actually quite an entertaining game. I thought both teams really went for it, and what I liked is there were players that were really like putting some hard tackles in, but players, because they knew that the second leg was coming on Thursday, they were all just getting up. They were all just kind of well done, great tackle, just carrying on, because obviously you don't want to be suspended for the second leg and potentially even the final as well. So no, it was a good game. I thought a draw was a fair result over the 90 minutes. Charlton had a couple of chances at the end. I do think they're going to be the stronger one out of the two in the second leg, and it will probably be Charlton Stockport for a place in the Championship, which me and Cam, I know definitely, and I know you, Mike and Caity, probably will be wanting Stockport, a nice random away trip next season. That'd be good. Talking of random trips, actually, sorry, I'm going off key a little bit. Wrexham I don't know if you saw, have announced that they're doing a pre-season tour of Australia. So I messaged one of my friends who I go with, and I said to him, we're going to end up with Sturm Graz away behind closed doors. They're in Australia, sunning it up on the Gold Coast, like flipping unbelievable. But yeah, fair play to them. If their fans go over, it'll be an experience of a lifetime.
Absolutely. I thought you were going to say you messaged Ryan Reynolds then, because I know what you're like with the celebrities and rubbing shoulders. So, yeah, I'd love Stockport, even Leighton Orient. I know Cam. Have you done Leighton Orient because of?
I ticked it off for the first time the other week. Yeah, to also watch Wickham be absolutely boring. They're the last team I want to get promoted. By the way, that is one of the worst away days ever. Getting to the train station is the easiest part of that journey, and then when you're
on about Wickham now, I remember your your escapade trying to get there for pre-season last season.
You should have seen the other night.
Genuinely feels like it was only a couple of months ago, but I'd quite like Leighton Orient. It's a ground I've never done before. I'm all for ticking off new grounds. The last time I did Charlton, and Joe, I'm sure you were there, was when we lost 1-0. That penalty, the bold guy scored it for Charlton, and Oscar Garcia's one and only game in charge of Watford. Yeah,
I was there that day. I do Charlton pretty much every season we play them. I was there that night Forestieri got sent off and we ended up winning 2-1. I was there when Raziak scored the half volley. That's probably one of the best away goals I've ever seen. Yeah, unbelievable goal that, and an unbelievable player as well, Raziak. One of my favourites.
Troy scored a decent goal at Charlton as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I was there that night. We lost 3-1. Yeah, that was when that guy had come in. You know, that centre half that we got, that everyone the papers were saying that Lyon and Dortmund had wanted. That is it Belkalem?
Said Belkalem, yes.
Yeah, I was like, the geezer's dog shit. Like, he literally couldn't kick a ball straight. So yeah, I've been to Charlton many times.
Yeah, and that was brilliantly well held out, because I can say that we're now joined by Ben. Ben, I was just going around everyone, just welcoming them into the podcast. I know we saw each other on Saturday, which we're going to touch upon in a little bit. But how's things with yourself? All good?
Yeah, no, all good, thank you. Finally got my car fixed, thanks to Joe's recommendation of a local trustworthy mechanic, which ended up saving me £700, which is, it was an expensive quote I got from a garage. So, he saved me a lot of money, which I'm very thankful of. Other than that, all good, no complaints. Good to see everyone as well, by the way.
Yeah, it's very rare that we have all five of us on. As I say, these podcasts are something that I very much enjoy. Now, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I just want to start off by saying a massive, massive well done to the guys over at WD18, Watford, WFC Trust, and the Mental Health World Cup. We were there on Saturday playing on the hallowed turf that is Vicarage Road. Ben partook in the first ever WD18 Cup last season, and actually has the record of being the first ever goal scorer of the WD18 Cup, which he'll be taking to his grave, and I do not blame him. But this year they went bigger and better, and it was played at the Vic. It was a tremendous day. There were no hiccups. Everything ran smoothly. The weather was perfect. The turnout was great. And it was just, I often voice note Ben on a Monday, and I said to him yesterday, I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to come down from this high for a long, long time, because it was just a perfect all-round day. Now, results-wise, it could have been a little bit better. We played 4 in total. We lost 3 of them and won 1. So at least we won 1. That's the good thing. We did. I don't know if they're going to do a podcast about it anytime soon, so we won't be bitter, and we will mention it. We're not going to try and skirt around it. We did have the battle of the podcasts. We played from the Rookery end in the last 16 of the wooden spoon phase, and we did unfortunately get battered. I think it was 7-1 in the end. They did have Tommy Smith playing from though, so a little bit of a cheat code, and that's a different story for another day, because we got pipped at the post for Tommy Smith. We bid at 11 a.m. thinking that the auction closed at 12, only for them to be extended till 5 o'clock, which we weren't notified about. And David Cameron Walker from the Rookery Ends got in there last knockings and won the bid for Tommy Smith. But honestly, it was such an amazing day. They raised 64,647 quid, and that gets split between 4 mental health charities. That is absolutely astonishing. Just want to say a big thank you as well. I'm sure they'll watch it back. Gareth, Paul, and then my friend Ben and Cam's mate Barney for filling in to help basically represent Voices of the Vic, because we couldn't do it with just 4 of us lads. So we had to drift in a few.
We did try and get Caity involved as well. We're not being sexist there.
Yes. Well, next year Caity's going to come along, and Caity's going to be the manager, and you can manage on the pitch, Caity, 100%.
Yeah, I'll be there next year. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll hold you to that, and we absolutely will. We will all be there next year. But Cam, it was a great day, wasn't it? It really was. Yeah,
fantastic, and I'm gonna credit to the two of us for the fundraising efforts that we did. I've got to say, I didn't think that we'd make the 250-mile target when I picked up running again back in January, but when you pick up running, you just don't stop, and it just, the bug catches you. And yeah, first of all, it was really fun to tackle that aspect of it. And yeah, we raised a decent amount of money there, so thanks again to everyone that donated. And yeah, credit to you, Mike. And yeah, we did a good job there. But the day itself, it was superb. It's obviously the dream of everyone on this podcast and everyone listening to play at Vicarage Road, and we got to do that. So I will say I've played at bigger stadiums, guys. You know, so it wasn't my first rodeo, but the feeling of walking out at the ground of the club you support, and you know, just having free reign of the pitch, just being able to kick a ball about on that perfect pitch that's won so many awards lately for the job Scott Tingley's doing, which, by the way, it was a fantastic pitch, even for such a kind of a smaller occasion. They really looked after that pitch. So yeah, every single person involved, everyone that organised it, everyone at Watford who helped set it up, and everyone who played, that everyone deserves a bit of credit. It was such a fantastic day. And yeah, the weather really lined up well too, because the day after it was chucking it down, so we got quite lucky there.
Yeah. And Ben, what's it like to statistically be a better Watford striker than Daniel Jebison? And by that I mean Ben has actually scored on Vicarage Road. If you've not seen it, by the way, it's on his Instagram, Facebook. Go and check it out, because it's an absolute rocket. What a finish it was.
Yeah, like you say, we've had many Watford strikers in the years that have failed to score at Vicarage Road, and I'm pleased to say that I've managed to do that. And like Cam's just alluded to, many Watford fans would love the opportunity to walk out on the pitch at Vicarage Road and play football. I've had the chance to do that, and I've taken my chance and actually scored at Vicarage Road, so I will be taking that to my grave. Yeah, it doesn't get better than that. But like you, Mike, you made some quality saves from Tommy Smith, and you couldn't even remember making them at the time. I think you were just so overwhelmed with playing against Tommy Smith. But at the end of the game, I was like, you made some really good saves there. You made like 2 good saves early on, and you was like, did I? But I think you've watched it back since, and like you had a really good, solid performance. We all put in a good shift, Joe included, and Cam, and it was really good, fun day. And yeah, hats off to WD18, because what they did last year was fantastic, and they obviously upped it this year by going to Vicarage Road, and it was such a smoothly run event, and they deserve their credit. So fair play to Jacob, Charlie, and Sam. I applaud you.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. And Joe, round it off. You had a good day. You were on stealthy duty. You were cutting Tommy Smith's ear off for a good hour. I cannot believe, by the way, that I'm seeing that another Watford podcast has got Tommy Smith on their show tomorrow, and you fucking spoke to him for an hour, and he's not on our podcast.
Well, that would be why he's not on our podcast.
Well, yeah, he probably thought that was the interview, wasn't it? But
there's a restraining order now.
I did the podcast the other night, or the other day on the pitch. Did I not send you the recording?
Well, yeah, but you got one with Tommy Smith, Doyley, Gosling, Maps. He was there as well. Luther, yeah. I actually didn't see Luther on the day, which is a shame.
Yeah, it was really good. Like you've all said, Jacob, Sam, Charlie, they did an amazing job, and they, I think when I was chatting to Ben, Mike, when we just come out, he was like, "I'm not a Watford fan," but he was like, "This is amazing. This is an experience," and for like us who are huge Watford fans to be able to walk out of the tunnel onto the pitch, stand in the centre circle, just take it all in and look around and just be like, wow, like we're actually on the pitch. And it was a great day. And like you said, it wasn't result-wise, wasn't the best, but I thought, it was great fun. It was a good laugh. It was great to do it all together. And it's an experience we'll never forget. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I am now only 4 clean sheets behind Daniel Backman. So, Luke Anani or Potso, if you're watching, I am free. And if the Marley manager's watching as well, sort me flights and I'll come over and we'll have a chat, and not a problem whatsoever. Let's delve into things. Before we delve into the predictions that were made last season, well, at the start of this season, I should say, it wouldn't be Watford without a little bit of news. And that news is we have a new manager. Yes, we have appointed Paolo Pezzolano. I've probably completely butchered that pronunciation, but hey-ho. He's 42-year-old Uruguayan, speaks Spanish. He's agreed a 1-year deal, I believe. That's what Sky Sports reported anyway. It didn't mention on the official post that Watford put out how long it is, but I assume it's 1 year. He's managed CA Talk, Liverpool FC, not that one, Pachuca, Cruzeiro, and Real Valladolid. Again, don't know how to pronounce that one, but yeah, you're rolling your eyes here. They're the team that are sat rock bottom of La Liga at the moment. If you're not sure, he's won promotion with 3 of those clubs that I've just named. So I've seen him touted as a bit of a promotion specialist in his home country. Ben, I'll start with you. I know you were speaking on the last podcast that you're a bit numb to it and you're not sure, a bit disconnected after the news. But what are your early thoughts about this one? Again, he's someone that I've never heard of, I'll be honest. So is it a bit of deja vu? Someone coming in, never really heard of him, don't know what to expect, but he might not be here come Christmas.
Well, firstly, it's definitely a Gino Pozzo appointment. We've been here before where there's a guy from overseas that came in that we know next to nothing about. Supposedly his CV's pretty decent. He's won promotion in multiple leagues before and won league titles. But can he do it in the Championship? And that's the big question. He's done all of this work in winning promotion and league titles at Spanish-speaking clubs. Does he speak English? I haven't got a foggiest. So it's one to watch. But what I will say is it won't matter how good the coach is if they're not backed by the owner. I said this last week, you could give the best coaches in the world this role and it wouldn't work out because of who's at the top of the tree, and that's Gino Pozzo. So it's hard to get excited over it. I must say I'm more pleased with this appointment than the names that were being linked yesterday with Alonso and Pimenta. So his Pezzolano's CV is better and he's got a bit more of a track record. So it's one to watch. It's definitely one to watch. But yeah, the jury's out. What's your initial thoughts, Mike?
No, I think you've hit the nail on the head because ultimately, as you've rightly pointed out, it's all well and good getting these managers in with impressive CVs, but if he's got the same squad that Cleverly's got, you know, start asking Lewis Hamilton to win the Grand Prix and Nissan Micra, it's just not going to happen. So it's, yeah. But with that said, I would also be really, really pissed off if he is backed, if that makes sense, because why can we back him but not Cleverly? Like, if that's not a red flag, I don't know what is, because if we can back this guy, there's clearly money there. Now, whether that's on the bravado that we sell, you know, the big hitters, your losers, your Chakvadadzis, your bars, and then we get a bit of money in from there. But my understanding is, if we were to sell them, we need to keep hold as much of that cash as possible, because monetary speaking, we are fucked. So it's like, yeah, it's so many different sort of thoughts. And like you, I'm ready to just switch off from it for a little bit at the moment. I'm already bored of the social media stuff, not from our fans. I totally get it, but from other fans. Oh, Watford have announced this new guy, and then the following tweet, oh, Watford have announced they're sacking him. Oh, sorry, just preparing for whenever. And it's like, come on, you know, we've all heard the jokes. No joke, like all the jokes are the same, recycled, a bit like Watford managers, and it's just a bit boring. So, yeah, let's see what happens. I will believe if he's going to be backed when I see it with my own eyes. I think Paul Pidge is in here, and he, good evening, Pidge, by the way. He rightly said we've been linked with the centre-back from the Bundesliga 2, Dusseldorf. They've still got 2 games left of their season, and they're only 2 points behind the automatic promotion, so they might be getting promoted themselves. But I had a look at this chap we were linked with earlier, and I obviously didn't pay that much attention because I can't remember his name, but he's 23-year-old German centre-back, so he's meant to be quite good. So does that mean we may be losing a centre-back? But in terms of transfer rumours, we'll not delve into that at the moment. But Cam, what are your early thoughts on this new chap? I know you speak to Lou quite a bit. I don't know, has he told you anything? Have you done a bit of research yourself? What's the crack?
I don't do research. I only talk shit. So my earliest thought was I don't care. I've got no interest. If it's not Tom Cleverley coming back in, then I don't care. But then I saw on Twitter a nice little story about him on the 26th of May. Valladolid, they needed a win to get promoted. They're 2-0 down. Yeah, you butchered it. They're 2-0 down, and their fans are chanting for Pezzolano to resign. Yep. And then they end up winning the game. And the next day at the promotion parade, Pezzolano is repeating that same chant for him to resign. So we've clearly got a character on our hands here. And if we're gonna be shit, and if we're gonna get relegated this season, and if it's gonna be a complete and utter circus, then let's just do it with a character at the helm at least. Let's have a bit of fun with it. Let's, you know, I wanted someone like Neil Warnock to have a bit of fun with like that. But if it's going to be this Uruguayan shithouse, then I'm all for it, because honestly, we've got nothing else going for us at the moment. They're my thoughts.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I don't think we'll delve on it too much unless anyone else wants to say anything on the matter, because it's early in the season. Like others have alluded to in the comments, how long's this guy going to be in charge? We might do a separate podcast once we've gathered a bit more information about him, but early thoughts are, let's see if he gets backed. But I think everyone's still pissed off with the fact that Clevs isn't at the helm. So we've got Michael Thorpe in the building tonight. He says, well done, everyone, about Saturday. Thank you very much. I think Pidge said well done to us as well. So thanks, Pidge, mate. Hope you're doing well. Brown Electron says, what kind of system does he play? On Transfer Marked, it's 4-3-3, apparently. Almost said 4-4-4.
So I read something that says his teams are based around sort of pressing high and winning the ball high up the pitch. And I'm just thinking, how many managers have we heard those exact words from? and we've seen the exact opposite. Ivic, Ishmael, Chisco Munoz, everyone like that. We've just seen nothing like it.
The streets
it brings back memories.
That Tottenham pre-season game.
Yes, the Tottenham pre-season.
Oh my god, the
and
prep was insane.
The Palace one under Ishmael as well was quite similar to that.
Yeah,
and then we just never saw it again.
Yeah. So, what kind of system does he play? We'll see.
He's got a winning percentage of 39.3% in his managerial career, which is 6% more than Clev's, which isn't a great deal. So, yeah, I mean, he's done well in promotions, but his win percentage rate isn't actually that special, to be honest.
Well, you say it's 6% more. I would argue that he's probably had a stronger squad at these clubs than Clev's has had at Watford. So the first thing that needs to be done, we need to get rid of a lot of deadwood. I thought we'd already done that, to be honest. I thought the culture of a few years ago had been sort of gotten rid of, but it's quite clear that, there's still something lurking. So we'll see what happens there. But let's have a laugh at what we said in pre-season. I'm going to hand over to Caity because Caity very kindly listened back to our pre-season predictions podcast. And I believe you have the topics that we discussed, and you are going to tell us who each of us voted for in that topic. And we'll see how wide of the mark some of them are. So, yeah, Caity, the floor is yours.
Okay, so yeah, I have gone through and I've got a couple of topics. There was some obviously the standard ones, and then I think there were a few that we just thought the season's gonna be funny, why not? And obviously I can't really remember what time of year we actually did this, because obviously some of the answers ended up being people that left in the summer, so we must have done it quite early on before the transfer window shut. But the first topic was top goal scorer, and there was a couple here. So me and Mike, we both said Vata. Cam, you said loser. Ben said Rajovic, and Joe, you said Bar. So I feel like.
So I don't know who was the closest out of that. Who was Bar?
Probably Vata or Bar, was it?
No, I think Bar got
right.
Sure, Bar got 5 in the end. Ben, you should be jumping straight in on this. You do all the graphics for the top score.
Just having a look now. So,
in fact,
Bar had 5 goals. He's the highest up the list. So it was Bio 10, Kiembe 8, Sissoko 6, Bar 5, Ince 5, Vata 4.
There you go.
So all the way down in 2.
Yeah. But don't forget, you're not allowed to count the Tom Ince goals because they were Carabao Cup. So can't believe someone said that. That's not too bad then. Joe being the closest on that one, but I don't think anyone saw Vacuum Bio being a top goal scorer. I don't even think he probably still believes it, to be honest. So, yeah, okay. That's okay to start us off.
Yeah.
What we got next?
So next was player of the season. So Joe, you actually said loser would win. So you obviously got that right. Ben and Cam, you both said Georgie. I said Hoot, shock. And Mike, you said Deli Bashiru.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow! I couldn't have been any further removed from the truth.
I'm not sure where that came from.
It's nearly as bad as me saying Tom Ince would be top goal scorer last season.
Or Birmingham City getting promoted.
Yeah, well, they did this season. So, what were you going to say, Joe? Were you going to rub it in a bit more?
Me and Imran have got connections. I told him I've been coaching him all season. He's done what I told him, and he was player of the season.
It was funny because in the clip, I watched it, and you said how you must have been at the pre-season game and he was there, and you were like, he's a changed person. Like, he looks so comfortable here. So, you saw it from the beginning.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You can just see how big that head's getting of his right now.
I'm doing well so far, aren't I? Literally.
It must be a Brummy thing, because for those listening on audio, Paul Whittenbury's just commented here saying Troy said Tom Delibashiru would be the best player in the league as well. I didn't quite go as far as the league, but yeah, that was a horrendous shout from there.
Okay, he started the season well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
a bit. Then next was young player of the season. So Vata got a clean sweep from everyone but me. I said Bar. But yeah, you guys all said Vata. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously Dumbia won it. I still feel like maybe you could argue for Vata and Bar to win that. Maybe it was a bit harsh on them.
I don't know what the ruling is in terms of the age cut-off for young player. I would imagine it's 21 and under. If that is the case, Bar just misses out because he's 22.
Although he started the season 21, so
that's what I mean. Like he was 21.
He qualifies.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't. That's not too bad then.
But yeah. So then the next one was someone who you think was going to be the surprise player of the season. So Mike, you said Bar, which fair enough.
Yeah.
Cam, you said Ngakia or Tom Ince.
Okay, Ngakia. I'll take Ngakia there. Yeah. Tom Ince, he was, he was playing every preseason game.
That's the thing. You said he's going to get game
dangerous. And then come to the actual season,
dangerous.
He's dangerous to our defense. So yeah, you can see the thinking. I'm going to try and justify it, but no, that one's not as bad as Deli Bashiru, but not great either.
Joe, you said I don't want to butcher his name, Ramir Espan, the young guy. I mean,
how many league appearances did he make?
I don't know if he did he?
I don't think he
I'm
made
not
it.
sure if he played in pre-season or something.
Well, to be
played
fair,
the League Cup. He came on against MK Dons, I want to say, when we was like 5-0 up.
Yeah.
He did do very well in the academy this year. I will say that he's done very well. He's probably worth like looking at stepping up next season. I just thought he might have taken that step up this season. I just don't maybe think he was quite ready with Loser coming back into the fold and keeping him out of that midfield, I think.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Imran, again, just if I hadn't said it.
And Ben, you said Backman was going to be your surprise.
Surprisingly shit, possibly.
The Backman love continues.
I would like to leave that as no comment.
And I actually didn't answer that one because I'm not sure I was on the predictions pod, so there's no answer from me.
Still a better shout than Backman.
Then there's surprise flop of the season. So Mike and Cam, you both said KMB.
I mean, it wasn't much of a surprise.
I don't know, bit of a controversial one. He's got 8 goals this season.
I don't care how many goals he's got.
I'm not having the slander. I think it'll be next season.
He needs to go. He'll be here for about 5 more years at least, but he needs to go as soon as possible. Watching him is so tiring. It honestly makes me want to support a different team. Watching him
even when he's put the ball in the back of the net 8 times.
I don't care.
Well, when he's won us points this season.
Bio's put him in the back of the net.
Most of them were penalties.
So, yeah.
Joe and Ben, you both said Hoot. I think your justification was that he had a great season and he would just fall off. Obviously, then he left. So that was a sad day.
It was a big flop.
Yeah, he didn't do much for it.
Yeah. And I said Ken Sema. So...
Okay, that works.
That works.
Yeah, this season he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I would still find it mad that Hoot was here in pre-season.
Yeah.
Because do you not remember there was loads of like drama about it, and he like played in the pre-season games, and I think he even played like the first game of the season or something. Didn't he?
I don't think
he got injured in the pre-season friendly away at Wickham, didn't he? And then there was like a bit of a worry: is he going to be fit for the start of the season?
Because I remember he was like traveling with the squad and stuff, and then he just dipped.
Do you miss him, Caity?
Yeah, miss him every day.
Do you still
So
have
next
that
one
cut
was
out of him?
yeah, I need to get one. The next one was most yellow cards. Again, Porteous got clean sweep for this. Apart from Joe, you said Serralta.
We couldn't have been far behind.
I feel like I probably should have asked for the categories so I could actually check who got the most yellow cards.
Off the top
It
of
would
my
have
head,
to
I'm
be
going to say
Sissoko.
loser
Yeah, I
gets
do think.
every week.
Yeah,
I'd say Sissoko's up there.
maybe Kembe as well.
I mean, they all get booked a lot, so
Yeah.
we're not going to get a
The
concrete
lack
answer.
of discipline,
Yeah,
especially with Kiembe and Sissoko, their heads go too easily.
yeah. I mean, the red cards speak for themselves as well.
Well,
Yeah.
Serialta got
Oh,
10 all season.
oh, that won't
10.
do
He only played 10 games.
it.
Literally, he barely even played.
Yeah, he got 10.
Well, Sissoko got 6 because he never played any cup games. Kayembe got 11.
oh
he
yeah,
God.
Kayembe got 12 in all comps.
yeah. To be fair, I mean, he just
What about
talks himself
Loser?
into one every.
And then Loser got...
What
oh,
about
my
back?
Christ. Loser got 11. Bloody hell, I didn't realise it was that many.
He seems to get booked every week.
Mm.
Um,
What about Pollock?
Pollock must have been pretty high.
and then
Porteous
Pollock,
got 7.
yeah,
Yeah.
7. Pollock got 7. So there we go. Kayembe was the winner by 1.
Well, Porteous, that was 7 before he left in January. So imagine
Yeah.
he would have stayed all season.
That's crazy. That is
Yeah.
absolutely
He's back in the summer.
Oh yeah.
I
Might
think
stay.
he'll go.
I want him to stay.
No,
You
thank
want
Um,
Porteous to stay?
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Right, moving on. So then one of the questions was, does Cleverly last the season?
Oh god.
So we all said no, apart from Joe. Joe said yes. And your reasoning was that you said that we wouldn't be able to afford to sack him, so he would just stay.
What are we ruling here? Are we saying he lasted the season or not?
He did last the season.
The
Yeah.
playoffs are still going on, though. So has he actually
Yeah.
lasted the full calendar
We're still in
season?
24,
No, what?
25.
You know what? You
I think
lot
I
just
think
suck
we're
on
all
your
right apart
lemons,
from
will
Joe.
ya? Stuck on your lemons.
I
Well,
think
Joe-
Joe can have that.
Yeah, well done. Got that right. Then this was a funny one. The category was name something random that you think will happen in the season. So,
Oh, God. That was a funny one.
Mike, you said Radovic gets a hat trick.
We weren't
Um,
far away, was
I
he,
was gonna
against MK
say-
Dons?
He
Yeah,
didn't
he
even get one playing against some Danish farmers, so you're well off on that one.
Did someone say Bio to score 4 goals?
No, but Cam, you said 3 things. You were like,
Okay.
Jonathan Bond and Adipoku will play as regular starters.
Okay.
Tikvich will get sent off against MK Dons, and David Moyes will become our manager.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. Jonathan Bond had a little stint, but
Yeah.
other than that, I'm losing there. I mean, Adipoku couldn't even make himself a regular for Rochdale, so that's where I've gone wrong.
Joe, you said Ngakia lasts until Christmas with no injury.
He got an injury, I think.
Did
there
he?
was one at the start of the season. He was
His
out
first
for like
game
a month
back
or two.
was
Because I'm
QPR.
pretty
wasn't it?
sure
Yeah,
I'm pretty
you're
sure
not having
we've
that one,
seen-
Joe.
in the clip you literally said that, and then you were like, "Oh, he wasn't in the team in the last game that we played," so we were like, "Oh, is there an injury or something?" But yeah, I don't think that happened. Ben, you said a game will get postponed halfway through due to weather.
I wished it
didn't
did
happen.
happen at some point.
He's thinking back to that Wigan game in the Premier League.
Yeah, that was carnage, wasn't it? That?
Yeah, we went down. Me and the old man went down all the way from Birmingham, and he got bloody called off. I remember Paul Jewell and Boo Freud on the pitch. So yeah,
Didn't Priskin get his first goal for Watford and then it got called off?
He did. He follows us on Instagram now. Priskin does. We'll have to try and get him on.
He liked the.
Don't let don't let Joe talk to him.
Probably already has. Yeah, he liked the post about us playing on Saturday. That was very nice of him. Any more categories, Caity?
Well, I also said that something random that would happen was a protest.
Ooh, okay.
Well, it was an unsuccessful one.
Well,
There
do you not
was a
remember
very
Cam?
small one, wasn't
Yeah,
there?
I do remember.
Outside.
Outside the Red Lion at Leeds at home?
Yeah, and then the counter protest turned up. All of the Italian people.
Oh, no, I tell you who that was. I remember now.
They were Como scouts, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Cesc Fabregas was among them, I think.
It was the guy that played for Man City.
Kolarov. Yeah,
Kolarov.
Yeah, not Fabregas.
Yeah.
Then we also the category was where will Watford finish? So Mike, you said 19th. Cam, you said 23rd. Joe, you said 20th. Ben said 19th, and I said 18th.
Okay, it was the closest. Was it 14th in the end?
Yeah,
14th. Doesn't that just show that we're not exactly experts, but we all thought we were in deep shit, and we ended up challenging for playoffs for a little bit. So doesn't that just show the job that Cleverly did?
Yeah. Then we did 3 teams up and down.
Ooh.
No one said anything crazy. Mike, so your up was Sheffield United, Coventry, and West Brom. And your down was Oxford, Plymouth, and Bristol. Cam, your
Bristol.
yeah.
Bristol, the team that just got knocked out the playoffs yesterday. Yeah,
Mike striked again.
You said Sheffield United to go up and Leeds and Norwich. And then down was Derby, Watford, and Blackburn.
Blackburn. Narrowly missed out on playoffs on the last day.
Yeah, they were shit though.
Yeah, they were. Ground was empty as well.
Joe, you said Sheffield United up, Burnley up, and Leeds up. And then your down was Oxford, Derby, and Plymouth. Ben, your up was Sheffield United, Leeds, and Norwich as well. And your down was Oxford, Derby, and Blackburn. My up was Burnley, Leeds, and Sheffield United. And my down was Plymouth, Portsmouth, and Sheffield Wednesday. So,
anyone know who actually did go down?
Plymouth, Luton, and
How did you forget about our M1 neighbours?
No, I think he was trying to play on it a little bit there.
Well, no one predicted Luton to go down, and they went down.
So basically, Caity and I were closest.
Well, I said, what did I say? I can't remember now.
I think you got 3 spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we said Sheffield Wednesday to go down.
Oh yeah, maybe next year they'll be going down with us. It'll be us, Blackburn, and Sheffield Wednesday. Us Blackburn and Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going with all of the nutcase owners.
Yeah.
So yeah, those were the categories. So I feel like there was a couple good ones in there, a couple good laughs. But yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for doing that for us again. So, as I say, they always provide a bit of laughter. I mean, people might think, why are you bothering doing a pre-season prediction? No one knows how it's going to pan out, but purely because we can then listen back a few months later and be like, as if we've said that. Bit like saying Bristol City are going to get relegated when they actually, in fact, got into the playoffs. So, yeah, stuff like that. But we'll be back in probably about 2 months doing a predictions podcast. So stay tuned for that one. Finish off on today's podcast with our awards. Now, I've only got 4 categories. I think we usually do a bit more than that, but just a bit bogged down by this Cleverly stuff and whatnot. So there ain't really much you can make light of Watford at the moment. So the 4 categories we've got is we're going to vote for our young player of the season, our player of the season, our goal of the season, and our team performance of the season. So let's start top of the bill with our young player of the season. Now, Dumbia won the actual young player of the season award from the club, but I asked these guys to get their answers ready for tonight, and hopefully they've done their homework. So let's start in order of who I can see on my screen. Caity, who is your young player of the season for this season?
I think I was touching on this earlier, but I think for me it was Vata. I maybe would have gone with Bar, but as you said, he necessarily doesn't really qualify. But Vata for me has been excellent this season. Really blossomed once he made that break in the team, and I'm really excited for him next season. I feel like, well, I hope he stays first of all, but we could really see him flourish and everything. There's been some great moments with him. He looks so promising. He worked hard. He earned his place in the team. There was a lot of time where he was on the bench a lot, and we were screaming for him to play because we saw what he could do. So I think he deserves it because for me, he's been the most promising youngster that we've had.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was on mute then trying to type. I think that is a very, very good shout, and he's been phenomenal. Well, say phenomenal. The last few games, well, basically, since he's come back from that virus that he had, he didn't quite seem the player that we saw before that. But listen, it's his first full season in sort of professional well, say professional, I think that's doing a bit of injustice. First team football, I think, is the phrase I'm looking for. So if we can really, build a team around him and a few others next season, then maybe we will escape relegation as Cam's had us to go down. First vote for Vata. Joe, are you following suit or are you going elsewhere with your vote?
No, I'm sticking with Vata. He was really impressive. I think he was the player that, other than Bar and Chak, I think got people off their seats and continued to impress the more he played throughout the season. It's a clear winner for me.
There we go. 2 out of 2 for Vata at the moment. If you're watching live, get your votes in the comments as well, and we read through them. Or if you're watching back, get them in the comments and we'll reply. We love the interaction with you guys. Cam, is it 3 out of 3 or?
Look, Vata deserves a lot of credit. He's definitely got talent. He's scored some great goals. But I'm going to give this, and I would say he qualifies, I'm going to give this to Kwadwo Bar. I just think he has the potential to be one of the best wingers in the league. When he's 1v1, you just can't do anything about him. And it shows, that Bristol City game, when he came back from injury and he played the first sort of 15 minutes, we looked electric. We were the best we've looked for ages, and it was solely down to him. And then he goes off, and we're just a completely different team. And it points to how reliant we are on Kwadwo Bar in his first season playing at this level. And to come back from. He wasn't. I bet there's so many Watford fans that didn't even know that he's a Watford player at the start of the season, and to come back from that and being out in the cold, out on loan in the middle of nowhere, he's dealt with some injuries, and he's really he's worked on his body a lot to get to be this physical shithouse with all the pace that he's got. And it just makes him an unstoppable player, but he's got the end product to go with it. So yeah, look, it's Kwadwo Bar all day long for me, and I really hope that we can see him get an injury-free season if we do keep hold of him.
Yeah, he's going to be crucial next season. And like you've rightly pointed out, that Bristol City game, it was so clear as to how much we missed him when he come off, because that was the turning point. That was, right, we're not getting playoffs. If he'd have stayed fit, I firmly believe we'd have gone on and won that game, and we could have been talking about a completely different season. But it's all ifs and buts and pots and pans, isn't it? So I did say to the guys earlier that they couldn't have Bar because he was 22, and usually young players are 21 and under. But as Cam rightly pointed out earlier in the episode, when the season started, it would have been 21. So I'll give you that. Ben, where's your vote going?
Because what you said earlier about being 22 and under and Bar being 22 at the end of the season, I haven't included Bar into this, even though I have preferred Bar's performances over the person that I'm going to select now. But because I ruled Bar out, my young player's gone for Rocco Vata. He's just been a joy to watch. Yes, his consistency's probably not been as good as Quadro Bar's, but you got to think that he's a new, an extremely young guy who's moved to a different country. Yes, Scotland to England's, like some people say, oh, it's the same language. I don't know if you've been to a weekend up in Glasgow, but it's definitely not the same language as down here. But it's definitely a culture shock. Being away from his family. It's his first full seasons. His stats have been incredible. He seems to be more effective coming off the bench, and he's had to play a lot when we've been having a really thin squad, and he's been relied upon much more, I'd say, than he was probably expected at the start of the season. But he's been a joy to watch, especially early on in the seasons. Those pre-season games, that one away at Hibernian, he was outstanding, cracking goal as well. But he's chipped in with goals and assists, and that goal away at Fulham, just hands down for me, helps him win this award as well, because he's such a talented guy, and I'm glad he's around for next season, because I don't think clubs will be sniffing around him just yet. If he carries on performing to the ability that we know as Watford fans that he can produce, then there's definitely a 15, 20, 25 million pound player in him. He just has to stay fully fit and kick on next season. So yeah, my vote's for Rocco Vata.
There we go. We got 3 votes for Vata, 1 for Bar. Sorry about that. That is my fault. I don't know whether that changes many. I know Ben said he would have gone Bar originally, but I am going to go completely different to what you guys have said, and I'm going to give it to the man who actually won it, and that's Doumbia, because I think he was sort of pushed into the deep end, really, because of the suspension to Vacuum Bio. And for us to be called, I know the bar's low here, but for us to be calling for him to stay in the squad when Vacuum Bio returned from suspension, I think is absolutely credit to Doumbia. And I think I'm delighted he got off the mark with a goal. There are a few Watford fans amongst the negativity that has been throughout this season that have started sort of grumbling, oh, well, yeah, he's better than Bio in this, and this, but he's not scoring goals. And ultimately, yes, your job as a striker is to score goals. But I just think the way that he holds the ball up, I just see he's got so many years ahead of him. And if he can get a coach that actually develops him, big ask at Watford. But ultimately, we'd probably just let go a bloody coach that would develop him the best. But I just think that if we can work to his strengths and get him sort of working really hard in pre-season, I think we could have one hell of a player on our hands, and hopefully he'll score a few more goals next season. But I would like to see us bring in another striker, obviously. But yeah, Doumbia gets my vote. Next category, I think it's going to be one of 2 people that wins this one, to be honest. Let's start with Cam on this one. Player of the season is...
Yeah, I've been umming and ahhing about this one, and I'm still not fully certain. I've been on the Georgie train all season, and mainly because he gets so much stick from people for no reason. I feel like that sort of elevates my defense of him, and he has been absolutely fantastic for him. But he just obviously didn't end the season too strongly, whereas Imran Loser, he grew into it. You know, he only got better and better as really the team around him got worse, and that it shows a lot of character. And he said in his acceptance speech for the award, he said he was, you know, he was in the under-21s at the start of the season. So it just shows, you know, it's a big comeback from him. Me and Joe were at a few pre-season games. We saw he had that connection with the fans. He had that desire to really, be involved with the club, and that's a big ask from a foreign player who probably hasn't had the best of times here so far. So it's been really good to see Loser's resurgence. I have to give Chak Batadze so much credit because he's a fantastic player, and there isn't much I can fault him on really. But Imran Loser wins this one for me.
Yeah, Loser just got half a vote there from Brown Electrons in the comments. He said Pollock/Loser for him. Joe, come to you next. Where's your vote for player of the season going?
Yes, it's an obvious one for me, Imran Loser, for the same reasons Cam said. He's desire to get back into the first team, the connection he had with the supporters from early on in pre-season, his want to do well and succeed and get back into the team. I don't know if anyone watched that video that he posted on Instagram the other night of his highlights of the season, some of the through balls he was playing and the assists he got, the goals he scored. He's unlucky. When I think back to, just how unlucky he was with that free kick at home to QPR as well. He's nearly scored a couple of other goals as well. He obviously hit the bar at Portsmouth from distance. For me, Loser was the clear and obvious winner for me this season. But like Cam said, you've got to give Chak a lot of credit because, he is an exciting player to watch, and he has done well, and he will develop into a much better player as the years go on.
Yeah, I've gone Loser as well. I don't think we've had a passer of the ball like this since Capu. I think the way that he can spread it across the pitch is unbelievable. Pretty much carbon copy his assist for Doumbia at Bristol City and Sissoko at West Brom. And he almost took a while to celebrate at the one at West Brom because you were like, it was almost a bit mad that he was through on goal and scored because of the ball. It was like, wow, has that just happened? So, yeah, unbelievable. And he's going to be on a lot of teams' transfer lists this season. So, this coming season. So, let's see if we keep him. Caity, who is your vote going for? Are we going to see a clean sweep for Loser or?
Yeah, mine's Loser as well. I mean, I've echoed it all season, I think, when we did, even at Christmas and stuff. Like everyone has said, they've all raised great points why it should be Loser. But again, a special mention to Georgie. But I think for me, it's just about consistency. And Loser has been consistently the best player on the pitch. And his comeback story, it will go down in the history books at Watford. So that's why I think he should win. And he obviously did, and he deserves it. But yeah, special mention to Georgie because obviously he's been great as well.
Yeah, completely agree with that sort of redemption story. Quite similar to the circumstances in which Doucouré got a chance. Really, he come on because someone was injured, and we never looked back from there. Really, and he's smashing it at Everton. So yeah, delighted for Loser. Ben, are you going for Loser as well?
I'm going to be different, and okay. I might take you all by surprise a little bit here, but I'm going for someone who we signed in January and has been absolutely outstanding, producing 8 out of 10 performances in all his games, even when he's made a mistake in the game to cost us a goal. Igor Selvic has been absolutely outstanding, and if he was here at the start of the season, I think hands down he would have won Player of the Season because of how impressive he's been in amongst the sticks. A goalkeeper who's been brilliant with his feet, commands his box, comes and gathers crosses, gives calmness to the defence in front of him, and his shot stopping ability is absolutely fantastic as well. And we all joke about how much of a fan's favourite of Daniel Bachmann I am. But I have to admit, look, the upgrade on Daniel Bachmann from Igor Selvic is just, there's no comparison. He's just miles ahead of him. And it's so nice to see a goalkeeper come in and hit the ground running and perform so well in the new league as well. He's came from the Norwegian league over to Italy to to England, all within a space of a couple of weeks, and he's adapted so well. So, yeah, my player of the season, although he's only played half a season, would be Igor Selvic.
Yeah, really like that shout. I've been thoroughly impressed with him, and I'm glad you mentioned halfway through you said his name again, because for a minute I thought you were talking about me at the WD18 Cup with some of them them attributes you were naming. But yeah, no, I'm fully on board the Selvig train, because if I think a lot of people as well on Twitter are under the impression that he's going to go back to Udinese, but if you remember, it was a bit of a dodgy deal, because he signed for Udinese from the Norwegian team, and then he permanently, and then he signed for us permanently, and it was like, that's not fishy at all, is it? So he is our player. So hopefully he will be seen in a Watford shirt as the number one next season. And I saw a clip. Someone on Twitter put a thread together on the new manager, and I should have remembered the name for you to go and check it out. But in this clip, he talks about how he likes from his goal kicks, and the goal kicks are very much playing out from the back, and we cannot do that with backmen, as we saw him change to Hamer, who was more comfortable with his feet. So I feel a little bit more reassured with Selvik in goal if we're going to be playing that sort of style of football. So, yeah. Paul Whittenbury's also voted. He voted for Bar, young player, and loser player of the season. The next one is goal of the season. So, Joe, let's have you kick off goal of the season.
Oh, I vote on the Watford one. I voted for loser at Sunderland, like Paul has said in the comments. For me, the bend he got on that for the ball, he really just like a little poke away out from under his feet, and just it was superb. But then I've watched Vatta's goal a few more times at Fulham, and Vatta's goal gets a bit better every time you see it. And in fairness,
you were there that night, weren't you?
I was going to say, in fairness, for the scenes and the joy that we had, Cam, I mean, it was a special goal, wasn't it? So
it really was.
I think as much as I love that loser goal, I'm actually going to have to give this one to Vatta, I think.
Okay, there's no shame in that. And as sort of drab as this second half of the season has been, I think we're a bit spoilt for choice with goal of the season, which is very, very good. Brown Electrons has gone a bit left field, actually. He's gone Bio's chip was nice against Wednesday. Let's go with Ben next. Where's your vote going? Are you a fan of one of Bio's goals, or any one of the four pick of the bunch at Wednesday? Or
actually, I'm a fan of one of Bio's goals, and his goal away at Plymouth is my goal of the season. It was so good. The fans were so stunned, and they didn't end up celebrating. So yeah, anything off the Crow's arse is a win for me. So my goal of the season's Vacuum Bio away at Plymouth.
There you go, love it. And I think they were fighting each other, the fans, which is why it took them a while to celebrate. But that brings back so many good memories for me, because I was actually watching in Jamaica on my honeymoon. I made sure that we were back in the room. I said to Beck, I says, look, I know you like your sunbathing and that, and we were next to the pool. I says, but I'm going to go and watch the Watford game. And I was back in the room. I think it kicked off at like midday over there, so it was perfect. Couple of red stripes. The mini bar in the hotel was stocked up. I found a dodgy stream, although it's probably not dodgy over there, is it? So, it was great until they equalised in the last minute, and that bastard Andre Gray scored. So, yeah. Caity, where's your goal of the season vote going?
I voted for this on the Watford website as well, but I'm going to have to give it to Vatta against Fulham. It was just such a good goal. Not really else to say. It was just really, really good. And I always see clips of it online, and everyone was talking about it afterwards. It was just amazing.
Yeah, Vatta's goal, it's something to behold. It was one of them which, like my pick, which I'm going to announce in a minute, just completely took me by surprise. He had no right to hit it from there, and also no right to score from there as well. And it gave me a bit of false hope, actually, because I thought, we could cause a bit of an upset here, because I think that was to draw level at 1-1. Yeah. So I thought, okay, season's going all right at that time. Although I think actually we'd sort of tailed off a little bit then actually. I thought, could it be a bit of a cup upset? Not that wanker Marco Silva out the cup, but it wasn't to be. Cam, are you going Vatter as well, or?
I'm tempted to go Vatter.
Okay.
It was a great goal. I judge goal of the season off. If I was given 100 attempts, how many times would I pull it off?
Right.
And,
so that Vatter one you would not pull off at all.
Okay, let's say 1,000 then.
Right.
But if you give me an infinite number of attempts at Bio's goal against Derby, I'm not going to be able to pull that off. It's the acrobatic goals for me. I just think they're so much more impressive than long ranges. So as much as I loved that goal against Fulham, I am going to go with Bio against Derby.
I thought you were going to start reeling off the infinite number of monkeys on a typewriter writing Shakespeare then. Yeah, another good memory for me. I was sat in a bar in Spain, in Cabaroy, watching that one. Big shout out to Milo's bar. Not that they'll be listening, but found this backstreet boozer. Someone recommended it on one of the Watford Facebook groups, and I thought, I'll go in. And he said, funnily enough, someone else has asked for that. I thought, fucking hell, really? Went in there and he put it on a separate TV for me. So I was able to watch that in the sun. A few beers, happy days. I am going with Paul Whittenbury, and I am going for loser against Sunderland, purely because I was sat on the sofa in the living room. Second half had just kicked off. I was sort of like, right, okay, we're doing all right, but yeah, let's get another goal. And I was just sat there, and then next thing you know, the ball's in the back of the net, and I'm like, my jaw's hitting the floor, and I'm like, oh my God. It was unbelievable. It was phenomenal. So for me, loser's goal against Sunderland wins goal of the season. Who actually won the awards? The Watford one.
Yeah, I think it was better.
Yeah,
we haven't even talked about Ben Aiton against From the Rookery End yet.
Yeah, that was a great goal. Yeah, late entry for Ben Aiton.
Does it count?
From the Rookery End. I'm changing my vote. Ben Aiton against From the Rookery End. Oh, yeah, what a goal! In fact, I don't know if I've. I think I've got the clip here on my phone.
You should have had it ready.
I should have had it ready. I sent it especially to Ben. No, I didn't.
It was a great strike, to be fair. A lot of power.
Yeah, you describe it while I find it, Cal.
A lot of power, a lot of placement. Good little voice of the Vic counter attack.
Got it.
It was giving Tom Cleverley.
Got it.
Yeah, to get us back in the game for about 30 seconds.
It was a set piece from a Rookery End, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they kindly assisted us on our way to score. So I was quick on my toes. I could see he was in possession. Started running and bang, back of the net, goal. Ignore the scoreline that we was 4-0 down at that point. That's not relevant. I scored at Vicarage Road and Daniel Jefferson hasn't. So yeah, take that.
So good, gotta watch it again.
Look,
you say Daniel Jefferson hasn't, he'll be back for some shit league.
Ben, we're signing you in the summer. Welcome back, Tom Cleverley.
Thank you. But yeah, like Paul Whittenbury pointed out on Twitter yesterday, he was like, I can see you haven't posted the other two shots that you've done that ended up on the other pitch, but no one really needed to know that, Paul. So appreciate that, mate.
You nearly knocked out Gareth's missus, didn't you?
I think I hit her in the face. So massive apologies to Gareth's.
Oh my God.
I hit it on my left foot, and I'm not left foot.
Clearly.
Yeah. But you know what? I was talking to Mike about this yesterday on our weekly morning Monday voice notes that we give each other. I was saying to Mike that earlier on in the previous games, I kind of lashed at shots and I was quite frustrated with my shooting ability. So for this one, I side-footed it to try and get it on target, where the other ones I just hit it with my laces and they went high and wide. So actually trying to get a bit of control on this and just hit it with so much power that I was confident if I get it on target, I'll probably score. So I did exactly that, and it was in the back of the net. So yeah,
I might be changing my vote.
Yeah, change your vote. Yeah, late category entry, save of the season. I think definitely goes to this chap. He had no right to not score that.
To be
No
fair, that
right
was
whatsoever.
really good football from the opposition. That was
It
really
was.
well worked.
They fucking rang rings round us. Yeah.
Good thing we had a great keeper.
You did well.
No, it was honestly. I'm
Taking
still
part that can.
absolutely. We should have done a podcast on the pitch afterwards and been like reacting to all the games because
We
that
should have done.
Kelme have got blood on their hands because they did not deserve to win that. I do not care. I know I'm wearing their stuff right now, but they did not deserve to win that. We needed a draw minimum, and we just completely balls it up. Go on, Joe.
Sorry, can I just need to say the manager has come out and he's posted on his Instagram. He's just posted, "It's a privilege to be part of this project. Hard work, respect, and full dedication to this badge. Come on, Watford."
Oh, you can shut up.
I thought you meant the Kelme.
Wow, that's a bit harsh.
No one cares what he has to say.
Well, I mean,
so the manager has spoken. His first words.
What's his account?
Brown Electron said ChatGPT special.
I must say, I know Katie's not very pleased with like the appointment and that, but as Watford fans, and what we need to do is like, it's not his fault. Tom Cleverley's lost his job, so we do need to get behind him still and show him the support. And I imagine the first game of the season, Watford fans will be aligned and they will get behind him. It's just obviously a difficult situation to lose someone who's was very connected to the club and very passionate towards our badge. So hopefully we'll see the same with Paolo, and it's just feelings are very raw still.
It'll be hard to get his name in a chant, though.
They'll find a way to crowbar it in, or they'll just sing the Tom Cleverley song. But I'm on board with that. I'm happy with that. Last category is, to be honest, I've had a bit of a stinker here because there's quite an obvious one, but I've not chose it. But we like to be different. Is the best team performance. So, Joe, in terms of best team performance this season, where's your vote heading?
My best team performance is going to Middlesbrough away.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
I was trying to think of something different. Obviously, there are obvious ones, but I think where the team was at that day, the way that they kind of all came together, put in a real shift, and the scenes at the end of the game with Tom in front of the away travelling fans was just great to see. So yeah, Middlesbrough away for me.
Cam, and you can't have Voices of the Vic against Burgess Boys 1-0 because that
is
was
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, that was a quality performance.
So my first thought was Man City away, but I then realised there's a better one for me, and I'm going to go with Burnley at home. To be in the run of form that we were in, which was shocking. We went 1-0 up. And we deserved to be more than 1-0 up by half time, but it ended up being 1-1. And yeah, Burnley took the lead shortly after we get two very stupid red cards, but it just didn't seem to affect us. And we could have scored 3 or 4 goals out after those 2 red cards, and to be able to play that well with 9 men, it shows a lot of character. So I'm going to go for that one.
Okay, I like that. Good shout. We played all right at their place as well. 2-1 in both games. Not a lot of teams this season can say that they've scored past Burnley, so we'll take that in home and away. Caity, where's your vote going?
Well, I was going to say Man City away as well, but I actually picked that when we did the Christmas the year one
Sure.
at Christmas. So I actually went for Derby away in January. I think more because I enjoyed that game so much, but it was a really good team performance. Seeing everyone come together for Cleverley and the passion in the players in that game was like really, really special. And it was a really good performance all round. I know Derby were rubbish, but I thought we played really well and we deserved it. So yeah, that gets mine.
Yeah, I'll jump on that as well. Mine was Derby. I think I wasn't there. I was watching it on TV, and the crowd, you could just feel the atmosphere sitting at home, and it's not very often you feel that sometimes, but it was, I mean, I've seen videos from the away end And it helps that Derby were very poor that day. But I just felt that was our most complete performance. And I just felt like there wasn't a particular point in the game where I really felt that Derby were going to get back into it. I know they had a chance where they really should have scored and that would have equalised for them. But I think large part of the game, we were in control and didn't look like losing that. And we just, it felt nice to turn up away from home for once and be in complete control. So, yeah, my vote goes to Derby as well. Ben, where's your vote going?
My vote was the same as Joe's, actually. I was going to go for Middlesbrough away. I thoroughly enjoyed that performance until about 60, 65 minutes when Dumbia came off and Vata was played through the middle and then it was backs against the wall. But why I enjoyed this performance so well is it was a reaction after a 4-0 defeat to Leeds midweek. It's seeing the boys react to that. It was our second away trip in a week up north. We drew 2-2 away at Sunderland, which was another good performance as well. But yeah, performance-wise in that first half was fantastic. Defensive work for that last 30 minutes was outstanding. They really had their backs against the wall and they grounded out that clean sheet to pick up that 3 points away at Middlesbrough. So yeah, my performance of the season would be the 1-0 victory away at Middlesbrough.
There we go. Some very, very good picks for all categories, and no clean sweeps for anyone as well. So that's what we like. We like to differentiate here on Voice of the Vic. But I think that's pretty much where we'll wrap things up. It's been a little bit of a longer episode tonight because obviously we've had a lot to pack in. We've talked about the pre-season predictions that we made at the start of this season. We've had a laugh at them. We've talked a little bit about the new manager, got a few thoughts on that. Read out his chat GPT special statement. And then we've talked about the topics of the awards that we've given out. So we've put the lid on another season here at Voice of the Vic. I should have had this number ready, but I think now we're going to be going into our 7th season as a podcast. So obviously myself and Ben started in lockdown. Our first ever podcast was a reaction to the Leicester City game at home, that return to football from lockdown where Craig Dawson scored in the last minute overhead kick to equalise. And we're now going into the 25-26 season, and that was the 2019-20 season. So it's we really do appreciate your support. I know obviously it's very tough when Watford aren't doing very well to then plonk yourself on a podcast and speak about it. And, you know, it has been tough and challenging this season, even with 5 of us. But we really do appreciate the numbers that we get on the podcast. We know we're not the biggest and the best one out the lot, but we just do it because we enjoy speaking about Watford mainly anyway, when things aren't going really, really bad. But, yeah, I know it's not great for you guys. The last thing you want to be doing when your team's lost is sticking a podcast on and hearing all about it again. But we really do appreciate the support that you've given us. Joe, you want to say something?
I'm going to end on a good note. Please do. You're going to rib me for this, but obviously, as I always joke, I've got friends everywhere, and I know people all over the world. I've got a friend who's a huge Paphos fan out in Cyprus, and he was out there. He sent me some photos. There's a thing there you can see the team bus celebrating. They've just become league champions. Ken is on there somewhere with Dominguez Kina. Congratulations to them on winning the Cypriot title. It's the first time in their history that they've won the title. They're going for a league and cup double. They're playing Larnaca at the weekend for a Cypriot Cup title as well. So, yeah, congratulations to Ken Sema on leaving Watford and winning a title, and Dominguez Kina.
Absolutely, and I think they got quite far in the Conference League as well, I think.
Quarter-finals they lost in, I believe it was.
Yeah, so a good seasonal, a good end to the season for Ken Sema. But
even though things have been tough, like this season there's been some real downs and some horrible losses, horrible performances. This season has still been really enjoyable. There's been some great moments. and Luton were relegated. So the season was a success. I know everything's been awful with Clevs and stuff, and that's been awful. But for me, I have to say, out of the last couple of seasons, this one has been the most enjoyable. You know, Tom Cleverley had us playing like a team, connection with the players, connection with the fans. It was all back. We don't know what's going to happen next season, and I'm sure we'll all be here saying how awful it is again. But I have to say, this season for me and as a podcast, it's been excellent. It's been really fun, really good. I've really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy the summer break. We'll be back, I'm sure, in, I don't know, end of June, start of July. We'll try and do it so a little bit of transfer gossip has built up, maybe even a few transfers themselves, get a little bit more information on our new man, maybe try and get an opposition podcast on from one of the teams he's managed. And yeah, enjoy your summer break, enjoy not having to worry about Watford ruining your weekend, and enjoy the weather as well. Hopefully it sticks around. But thank you from all of us here at Voice of the Vic for another season supporting us. And yeah, we'll be back in the summer. But until then, keep the faith and come on, you Orns.